Friends, welcome to Bible Words. I'm Pastor Dave, your host. This week, let's talk about God and the nature of his existence. The question has been asked, how has God been existing forever with no beginning? Wow, big topic, right? Two aspects of God's eternal nature immediately come to mind when I hear, how has God existed? Is the question, how can that be possible, or how does that look? I don't know about you, but for me, God's infinite existence, along with the very concept of eternity, are at the same time both mind-boggling and emotionally overwhelming. When I ponder God's existence, I'm like one of Jesus' disciples who asked, how can these things be? To which Jesus answered, with God, all things are possible. God's eternality, his infinite nature, is revealed throughout the Bible. But as finite, physical, mortal creatures, we really can't fully comprehend either his infinite nature or his eternal existence. Like everything else about God, this attribute, his eternality, is humanly unfathomable. And yet God obviously wants us to think about, consider, ponder, and rejoice in him, because the Bible is filled with information about himself in this regard. So let's talk about God's existence by considering two Bible word verses. In the Old Testament, when God appeared to Moses in a flame of holy fire and told Moses who he was, God was identifying himself, how he existed self-consciously as an eternal being. And he said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So what was the Creator God saying about himself? Well, I think he's saying that his self-conscious existence is above time, not merely continuing through time, but outside of his creation of time. Because God, as a personal spiritual energy, not physical presence like us, he dwells in the eternal present. In relationship to everything he has created at all times, God is I am. He's present and aware. God is saying his omniscient awareness includes past, present, and future time. So he sees all times with equal and perfect clarity and vividness. With us, events happen on a linear plane, one event after the other, and we call it history. The succession of events over time, but history, even our own limited history, has so many things that to keep track of as our days turn into months, turn into years, and then decades. But for God, there is no past, present, and future. He transcends time. He encompasses time. He exists as much as in the days of Abraham as right now, as in the future time of Christ. He sees and experiences all events at once, even as he beholds and sees eternity in the same I am grace. Glance. For God's time is never a limit, because time, like all the physical universe he has created, is his, and such he's in full control of it and authoritatively sets its boundaries. So this transcendence is what Jesus identified when he explained our relationship to God. In doing so, he identified the mode of God's existence. He said to the woman at the well in John, God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. See, our self-awareness, self-consciousness, our personhood is right now carried about for now in a mortal body of physical presence. Our physical, finite existence in time involves certain physical restraints or limits. But God, as a spirit being, transcends those limits. God's self-aware, self-conscious personhood has forever been manifested in spiritual energy without any limits or comparisons, which is why we cannot fully understand God. As humans made in his image with personhood, we have no earthly point of reference to say, well, God is like. Like what? And there is no like. All of our points of comparison are of earthly, finite creation, while God is the infinite spiritual power source of all that is. So God's own existence is not without beginning or end. It's beyond and outside of time itself. As spirit, God never had a beginning, will never have an ending. There never was a time when he was not, and there'll never be a time when God ceases to be. He is infinite as it relates to space, everywhere present at the same time. And he's infinite as it relates to time, existing in every time zone equally and in the past, present, and future simultaneously. Can we fully understand a God like that? No. But we can know him and worship him. And my hope and prayer for you is that you have made your own personal connection to God through faith in Jesus, who became a man to reveal our infinite, unseen Creator to us. Friends, thanks for watching. I hope to see you next week. Let me know if you have any further questions about God and his existence and what he's about.